A TikToker named Kafkrel was awakened every night by a disturbing sound at exactly 2:17 a.m. The noise always came from the basement door at the end of the hallway. After hearing the sound repeatedly at the exact same time night after night, Kafkrel finally decided to set up a camera and investigate what was in the basement.
Hello? Who's there? Oh my god! Oh my god!
Although no one was visible in the hallway, a faint rattling and muffled sounds could be heard, seemingly from behind the cellar door, as if something down there were tampering with the latch. The door itself never appeared to open, yet Kafkrel was convinced that something was trying to get out. Kafkrel did not open the door that night. Instead, still uncertain about what might be waiting below, he asked the audience to decide his next move. When the votes were tallied, 57% chose to open it. Kafkrel returned to the cellar entrance and began recording what happened next. Watch closely.
Okay, guys. You wanted me to open this. Whoa, whoa, whoa. No. Who is that?
Almost the moment the door opened, another faint sound emerged from somewhere down below. Nothing was visible in the darkness, yet the sound was distinct enough to make Kafkrel fall silent.
Oh, shit! Hello? Who's there?
The dark shape is revealed to be a black cat, bolting out of the basement. The animal could have caused some of the scratching, bumping, or rattling heard behind the door, but Kafkrel still wants to know why the disturbances seem to occur at exactly 2:17 every night. With the cat now upstairs, Kafkrel cautiously descends into the basement. The flashlight passes across shelves, storage containers, and an otherwise empty concrete floor. Nothing else appears to be hiding below, and no further movement can be seen.
What the f-
When Kafkrel entered the basement, the door had been left wide open. However, after the cat ran upstairs and the room below was checked, Kafkrel turned around to find the entrance firmly shut. Video footage never showed the door moving. It could have closed on its own due to uneven hinges, shifting air currents, or vibrations within the house. The cat might even have bumped the door while reaching the hallway, and the animal's presence could explain the noises heard every night. Nevertheless, the timing of the incident was unsettling. At exactly 2:17 a.m., disturbing sounds emanated repeatedly from behind the closed basement door, and when Kafkrel finally went down to investigate, that same door had somehow closed again, trapping Kafkrel alone in the depths below. So was the black cat the cause of it all, or was something else waiting in the basement, seizing the moment of the animal's escape to silently shut the door behind Kafkrel? What do you think? TikTok user Dark Encounter Zero claims a series of increasingly disturbing events has transformed his apartment into a place he no longer feels safe. His first recording begins in near total darkness. Nothing appears unusual at first, but within moments, the camera captures something deeply unsettling. A black, smoke-like mass appears to writhe within the darkness before slowly fading from sight. Brad cannot explain what he recorded, but this chilling manifestation would allegedly mark only the beginning of the paranormal activity. Days later, Brad returns to discover cupboards and drawers standing open, with toiletries scattered across the bathroom floor. As he cautiously searches the apartment, he encounters something near the bedroom that sends him fleeing in terror. When Brad finally returns home, his cats begin behaving strangely near a closed room. For several tense moments, they remain fixated on the door, as though they can sense something moving beyond it. A dark shadow silently passes beneath the door, even though Brad insists no one is inside. Whatever created it appears to be moving within the sealed room, completely hidden from view. In a later recording, another unexplained disturbance occurs near the window. The moment is brief, but what the camera captures makes it seem as though the unseen presence is becoming increasingly active. The blinds suddenly begin shifting despite nobody being near them, as though an invisible hand is disturbing them from the other side. But Brad's final recording contains something far more terrifying. Beside the television, a shadowy human-like figure appears to emerge from the darkness before silently retreating from view. Brad claims this is the third time the same sinister presence has manifested inside his apartment, and each appearance seems clearer than the last. Poor lighting, camera distortion, or staged recordings could explain the alleged paranormal activity. But if Brad is genuinely alone, what keeps manifesting inside his apartment, and why does this dark entity appear to be growing bolder every time it returns? Late that night, Drimsy suddenly woke up with a chilling sense that someone, or something, was in the bedroom. Although there was no distinct sound or visible movement, an overwhelming fear drove Drimsy to get out of bed. Crouching near the doorway, she raised her camera and began recording the silent room, unaware that something terrifying was watching her from the darkness. Take a look. For a brief moment, a pale, human-like figure can be seen peering from the corner of the room. Its partially visible head and hunched appearance resemble an elderly woman cautiously looking toward Drimsey from the shadows. The apparition remains visible just long enough to reveal its unsettling outline, but what happens moments later makes the encounter even more disturbing. Only moments after the figure peers into view, it suddenly disappears. There is no clear sound, visible doorway, or obvious movement showing where it went. The old woman-like presence seems to withdraw into the darkness, leaving the corner completely empty, as though the apparition had never been there at all. The mysterious shape could be a person briefly leaning into view, an object distorted by darkness, or a carefully staged paranormal encounter. Poor lighting may also have transformed an ordinary shadow into the likeness of an elderly woman, but the way the figure appears to watch from the corner before seemingly vanishing creates the chilling impression of a ghostly presence that realized it had been seen, and immediately retreated into the darkness. X-Account Meta.2 shared this chilling security camera footage, allegedly recorded inside a closed supermarket at 3:07 a.m. The darkened aisle appears completely deserted, but within seconds, the camera captures a disturbing sequence that seems to defy explanation. A loaded shopping cart silently rolls down the aisle with no one pushing it. After stopping beside the shelves, several products suddenly fly from their places and land inside the basket, one after another, as though an unseen shopper is carefully selecting them. Once the cart is filled, it mysteriously rolls away and disappears from view. The cart and products could have been manipulated using hidden wires, making the recording an elaborate paranormal hoax. But if the supermarket was truly locked and empty, who or what was wandering through its aisles after closing time? Was this merely a staged illusion, or had the security camera captured an unseen presence shopping in the dead of night? A disturbing piece of footage, shared by TikToker Spooky Spaghetti, was filmed inside a dark bedroom. The camera remains trained on another bed just a few feet away, as if the person filming senses a mysterious presence in a corner of the room. At first glance, nothing appears to be moving, yet something unsettling has actually entered the camera's view. Peering over the far edge of the bed is the deathly, pale face of what appears to be a ghostly woman. Her dark eyes seem fixed directly on the person recording, while the rest of her body remains completely concealed. For nearly 9 terrifying seconds, the female apparition stays unnaturally motionless, silently watching from within the shadows. The ghostly woman could be a real person crouching behind the bed, or the eerie face may belong to a mannequin, mask, or carefully positioned prop. Most suspiciously, she disappears while the camera's view is briefly obstructed, providing enough time for someone to duck out of sight. A staged or digitally altered encounter also cannot be ruled out, but if the recording is genuine, the footage appears to capture a pale female apparition silently watching from the darkness, before vanishing the instant the camera looks away. TikTok creator Alana shared 2 chilling recordings captured by her father while working a late-night delivery shift near Arundel. The first was filmed as he drove past a deserted playground, where something in the darkness immediately caught his attention. As he passes a playground in the dead of night, a solitary child can be seen sitting on a swing. The child continues swinging alone inside the darkness, with no parent or other person visible nearby. The encounter is undeniably eerie, but what the father records the following night makes it even more unsettling. Take a look.
Nah, I'm sorry, mate. Look at this. No, on it. Look, seriously.
When the father returns, the playground appears completely deserted. Yet the same swing is still swaying back and forth, as though someone remains seated upon it. He shines his light across the enclosure, but the mysterious child from the previous night is nowhere to be found. Only the empty swing continues moving through the darkness.
Nah, I'm sorry, mate. Look at this. No, on it. Look, seriously.
Perhaps the child had simply gone home, and wind caused the same swing to move the following night. The recordings could also have been staged. But why was that particular swing moving again at almost the same time? And where did the solitary child come from in the first place? Was the second night merely an eerie coincidence, or had an unseen presence returned to continue playing after dark? At 6:07 a.m., Charlene noticed her security camera detecting strange movement near her backyard fence. Her cat spotted something tiny in the darkness, but its terrified reaction suggested that whatever was lurking there was not something it wanted to approach. Directly beside the fence, a strangely proportioned little creature can be seen facing Charlene's cat. Its pale upper section and narrow body create the disturbing appearance of a miniature humanoid figure. But instead of chasing it, the cat suddenly recoils and runs away from the mysterious creature. Its low posture and rapid movement suggest that it could be a small nocturnal animal distorted by infrared blur, although the footage is too unclear to identify it with certainty. There is no convincing evidence of anything paranormal, but the cat's immediate retreat makes the encounter considerably more unsettling. Late one night, a man began hearing unexplained movement coming from his kitchen. He remained at the far end of the hallway, listening as an oppressive silence settled over the house. Eventually, he gathered enough courage to raise his phone and move toward the room, unaware of what might be waiting beyond the doorway. As the man approaches the kitchen, something dark begins taking shape behind the amber-colored panel of the door. What appeared empty only seconds earlier now contains the disturbing outline of a human head and shoulders, an ominous silhouette standing completely motionless on the other side. What makes the encounter even more unsettling is that the figure never appears to run or duck away. It remains behind the panel as the man moves directly toward it, but the moment he crosses the threshold, the shadowy apparition is simply gone. No clear movement shows it leaving, and nothing resembling a person remains inside the room. Still recording, the The man enters the darkened kitchen and searches the area where the presence should have been standing. When the light is finally switched on, the room appears completely empty. There is no intruder hiding beside the counters, no one behind the door, and no visible trace of the human-shaped shadow. The shape may have been the man's own shadow projected onto the tinted panel, especially because its size changes as the camera moves closer. A reflection, another person outside the camera's view, or a deliberately staged encounter also cannot be ruled out. But if the sounds and his reaction were genuine, the footage appears to show him following an unseen presence into his kitchen, only to watch its human form vanish the moment he reached the door. Over several months, a man named Claymore shared unsettling recordings captured inside his home. Each incident was recorded by a different camera, yet every clip appeared to document strange activity when no intruder should have been present. The first encounter occurred while Claymore was still awake, during an ordinary late-night conversation that was about to take a disturbing turn.
I was literally just on the phone talking to my family about this. No f***ing way.
As Claymore lies in bed speaking to someone beside him, the partially opened door suddenly swings farther into the darkness. No hand reaches into view, and no one can be seen entering or leaving the adjoining room. Claymore freezes and stares toward the doorway, before finally gathering the courage to investigate. He searches the hallway and kitchen, but finds no visible intruder anywhere inside the home.
Alright, so the video you're all about to see is basically a series of clips I took from about 8 hours worth of footage that I filmed overnight using my laptop's external webcam. So the events in the video did not happen in this short of a succession as portrayed in the video. They're basically just a bunch of snips that I combined together instead of showing you 8 hours worth of footage.
When the overnight recording begins, the closet door behind the chair is almost completely closed. As the empty room remains under surveillance, the door slowly drifts outward until a dark opening is exposed behind it. No one ever enters the room. An unexplained light then illuminates the already open doorway on the right before fading away. Claymore claims he could not identify its source, and only discovered the open closet door when he entered the room the following morning. Before dawn, Claymore's indoor Ring camera labels the empty front room as person detected. Footstep-like sounds can be heard coming from somewhere beyond the camera's view. Another unexplained noise breaks the silence, followed by what appears to be someone knocking inside the house. Yet no figure crosses the floor, no door visibly moves, and no one ever enters the camera's view. Each incident could have an ordinary explanation. Air pressure, an uneven hinge, or someone positioned outside the camera's view could account for the moving doors, while the mysterious light may have come from headlights or another household source. The Ring alert may simply be a false detection caused by infrared noise or the human-like outline of the hanging punching bag. The exterior camera image was also captured at a different time, so it cannot prove that nobody approached the property during the interior event. But if Claymore's recordings are genuine, the repeated doors, unexplained light, footsteps, and knocking create the terrifying impression that something inside his home becomes active whether he is awake or sleeping. This disturbing recording was shared under the name Bangchan_GF 143. It begins inside a brightly lit public restroom, where a woman appears to be concealed behind a shower curtain. Nothing initially seems unusual, but the cautious movement of her camera suggests that she believes someone or something may be inside the adjoining wash area. As the camera passes the row of sinks, a tall, pitch-black presence can be seen leaning from behind the far partition. Only part of its body is exposed, but its outline resembles a human head and upper torso. The shadowy figure appears completely motionless, as though it has been silently watching her from the other side of the restroom. The instant the ominous silhouette enters view, the camera violently pulls away. The woman retreats behind the nearest divider and remains hidden there for several tense seconds. Whatever she saw never follows her into view, but somewhere beyond that thin wall, the unexplained presence may still be waiting. When she finally gathers the courage to look again, the far corner appears empty. The black apparition is no longer leaning from behind the partition, and the recording captures no movement explaining where it went. In only a few seconds, the human-shaped presence seems to have vanished from sight. The figure could have been another person dressed in black who retreated deeper into the stall while the camera was turned away. Motion blur, poor resolution, and a deliberately staged encounter also cannot be ruled out. But if the woman's terrified reaction was genuine, she may have captured something far more disturbing, that a silent entity peering around the wall, watching her from inside a restroom that should have been completely empty. Reddit user Shazam shared this terrifying recording of a truck driver stopped alone at night. Moments after leaving the cab to inspect the vehicle, he discovers that something is waiting where no one should be. As the driver lowers his camera toward the ground, two bright red, human-like legs can be seen standing beneath the opposite side of the truck. The rest of the mysterious figure remains completely concealed, as though someone had been silently hiding there in the darkness. The driver immediately recoils and runs for his life. Perhaps someone was hiding behind the truck as part of a cruel prank, or the bizarre sight was deliberately staged. But if the driver's terror was genuine, who was standing beneath his vehicle in the dead of night? And how long had that silent figure been waiting for him to step outside? A disturbing recording shared by PN Video 97 comes with almost no explanation. Filmed beneath an unidentified structure at night, the camera remains pointed toward a high ledge, as though the person recording has noticed something lurking in the darkness above.
Assalamualaikum. Ini apa, guys? Ini nggak disum, guys. Ini kita maju ya. Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum.
Above the ledge, a pitch-black figure appears to be staring directly down at the camera. Its tall, pointed ears and pale skeletal features resemble the face of some demonic, rabbit-like entity. Long fingers seem to curl over the edge and slowly shift against the surface, as though the creature is preparing to pull itself farther into view.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum.
Despite its nightmarish appearance, the rigid face, costume-like ears, and controlled hand movements strongly suggest someone wearing a horror mask and dark gloves. A puppet, prop, or staged recording also cannot be ruled out. There is no clear evidence of anything paranormal, but without a wider view, the footage leaves behind the disturbing image of an inhuman presence silently watching from above.